part 27 of this Bhagavatam for the independently thoughtful. And we continue with the extraordinary prayers of Prahlada Maharaj for Lord Nishingadeva after Nishingadeva killed his father, Prahlada's father Hiranyakashipu, and many of his soldiers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So text 15, let me screen share. Okay, so here Prahlada Maharaj shares his mentality. Naham bibhemya jitate tibaya nakasya jivarkanetra brukuti rabasugradhamshrat antrashraja kshataya keshara shankukarna nirhadabhita digibat haribhin nakagrat. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. My Lord, who are never conquered by anyone, I am certainly not afraid of your ferocious mouth and tongue, your eyes bright like the sun, or your frowning eyebrows. I do not fear your sharp pinching teeth, your garland of intestines, sorry, your mane soaked with blood, or your high wedge-like heels. Nor do I fear your tumultuous roaring, which makes elephants flee to distant places, or your nails, which are meant to kill enemy. So, Naham bibemi, I'm not afraid of all these things, Sri Prahlada says, Sri Prabhupada's purpose. Lord Nishingadeva's fierce appearance was certainly most dangerous for the non-devotees. But for Prahlada Maharaj, such a fearful appearance was not at all disturbing. The lion is very fearsome for other animals, but its cubs are not at all afraid of the lion. The water of the sea is certainly dreadful for all living entities on the land, but within the sea, even the small fish is unafraid. Why? Because the small fish has taken shelter of the big ocean. It is said that although great elephants are taken away by the flooding waters of the river, the small fish swim opposite the current. Therefore, although the Lord sometimes assumes a fierce appearance to kill the Duskritis, the devotees worship him. Keshavadhrita Narahare Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. The devotee always takes pleasure in worshiping the Lord and glorify the Lord in any form, either pleasing or fierce. Sorry. So here, Srila Prabhupada gives two analogies. One is that, one is in the same category. Two are actually three analogies. Two are in the same category. The lion cubs, the small lions, are not afraid of the lion. Because they see, oh, this is my mommy, this is my father. In fact, they feel very protected. In fact, a small cub in the savannah will feel much less protected if the father or mother was not around. So if he feels very peaceful, very, very sheltered when the father lion or the mother lioness are around. So it's the opposite effect on other animals. We're all afraid of the lion. Even other carnivores. The cheetahs, they are afraid of the lions. In fact, sometimes the lions come and steals the prey of the cheetah. The cheetah is no. Cheetah is very fast, but it's no match to fight with the lion. It's just heavy, the body mass, the power. It's nowhere near. So sometimes the cheetah is good at capturing it because they run faster than the lion, but the lion goes and he steals the prey, steals the carcass of the animal. And of course, the sea. The sea, Srila Prabhupada, is dreadful. I mean, can be very fearsome. No, just the idea of falling in the ocean from a ship. Can you imagine a night? It's something it's like having a nightmare. But for fish in the ocean, that's their home. Srila Prabhupada says, because the small fish has taken shelter of the big ocean. Then he puts another, that gives another perspective, that is said that although great elephants are taken away by the flooding water of the river, because see, an elephant may be very strong, but a river is always stronger. And the elephant offers a lot of resistance to the water. So the elephant feels the water maybe more than a human being, because human being, okay, we are this side, although we may feel the current, but the current can only affect part of our body, which is smaller. But for an elephant, it gets simultaneously on all that body gets so much current, so much more power from the river. But the small fish can swim opposite of the current because it's like compatible with the waters, how the way it's designed. You see the form of a fish, very, I would say, the word that comes to mind is aerodynamic, but it's not the right word because it's more like water dynamic. It's way okay, can move up, down, no, that's doesn't affect. So similarly, yes, the Lord can be very fearsome for the demons, but for the devotee, like Prahlada is saying, yeah, I'm not afraid of any of these ugra or potentially fearsome aspects that the enemies fear. Chat.
It's a personal message for you.
Sure. Next. Bhagavatam 7:9-16. Prahlad Maharaj Trashtos Myaham Kripanavatsala Ogra Samsara Chakra Kadanad Grasatam Pranita Padham Swakarma Virushattamatengri Moolam Prito Pavarga Sharanam Vayase Kadanu. Translation. Oh, most powerful, insurmountable Lord, who are kind to the fallen souls, I have been put into the association of demons as a result of my activities, and therefore I'm very much afraid of my condition of life within this material world. When will that moment come when you will call me to the shelter of your lotus feet, which are the ultimate goal for liberation from conditional life? Prabhupada, being in the material world is certainly miserable, but certainly when one is put into the association of asuras or atheistic men, it is intolerably so. In other words, it's already a place of pain. But with people who are non-devotees, especially for a devotee, it's really very, 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 very bad. Oh. Even in normal circumstances, there are so many sufferings and challenges and anxieties and hard work and so on. But if you are with the asuras, especially if you're not compatible with the asuras, it's even worse, obviously, much worse. One may ask why, I keep reading, one may ask why the living entity is put into the material world. Famous question, why we have this material world. One may ask why the living entity is put into the material world. Indeed, sometimes foolish people deride the Lord from having put them here. Actually, everyone is put into conditional life according to his karma. Therefore, Prahlada Maharaj, representing all the other conditioned souls, admits that he was put into life among the asuras because of the results of his karma. The Lord is known as Kripana Bhatsala because he is extremely kind to the conditioned souls. As said in Bhagavad Gita, therefore the Lord appears whenever there are discrepancies in the execution of religious principles. Yada yada hi dharmasya Ganirbhavati Bharata Tadatmanam Shijamiham. The Lord is extremely anxious to deliver the conditioned soul, and therefore he instructs all of us to return home back to God. Sarvadharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Thus Prahlada Maharaj expected that the Lord, by his kindness, will call him again to the shelter of his lotus feet. In other words, everyone should be eager to return home back to God, taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, and thus being fully trained in Krishna consciousness. So, there are several important concepts here. Prahlada Maharaj, we have seen in previous chapter how he was completely persecuted by the father, but not just persecuted, they attempted to torture and kill him in so many ways. So he had experiences that practically nobody has those experiences. First of all, because one of those experiences are enough to kill. So once you have one experience, you're gone. But besides that, nobody experiences that, that the father tries to throw him from a hill, then it's trying to kill him by poisoning, then it's trying to burn him alive or something, then it's trying to pierce him with swords. Nobody has experiences. Still, it was so cool. We never see him panicking. We never see him losing his cool. But here he said, I'm very much afraid of my condition of life within this material world. Trashta asmiham. I'm frightened. I'm frightened by this. So it's almost like how is it frightening? You already experienced the worst of the world. He experienced the worst of the world in his family. So very oppressive situation. The teachers, they hated what his mood, his teachings. Of course, they didn't know he was teaching, but they hated this trajectory. The father was totally against, and so on. But he doesn't mind that. I say, I'm afraid. He doesn't mind, meaning he completely went through that. Now they're gone. But he feels that, no, I'm afraid of the material life. It seems that he's implying that he's afraid of forgetting the Lord. In one sense, he's more afraid of the pleasures of this world than of the difficulties of the world. This world is called, the liberation is called apavarga. And Srila Prabhupada explains several times. Here we see the word apavarga sharanam, which is the name of God, Krishna, the shelter for getting liberation. So apavarga in Sanskrit, there are this is called Varga, and meaning a series. The alphabet is arranged in series of sounds, similar sound. So pa Varga is pa, pa, ba, bha. These four sounds, and Srila Prabhupada explained that. See if I get all of them, but pa means parishrama. Parishrama means shrama, like shrama eva kevalam. Parishrama means a lot of effort, a lot of hard work. Everybody has to work hard. I mean, if you're listening to this lesson, maybe it's a peaceful moment for you. Maybe at home or you're on your bed relaxing, or maybe you're going to work. Maybe you're listening to this while on a subway, on a bus, or even in the car. I'm not sure, but still, there is a lot of work to be done in this world. Even to keep one's body clean, even to keep one's body fed, and even if somebody doesn't have what you call financial problems, it doesn't have to work so hard, even not to look good, to get the right clothes, and even if somebody just what it does, he or she does is all shopping all day, still it's hard work. Yes, has to. Now you might say, how is hard work? Well, for some people, shopping is their main occupation, and you got to go to the mall, you got to find the parking, or then you have to walk sometimes kilometers in those malls, and then you go and you see, oh, I like this, I don't like that. I mean, in other words, anything, even if you are rich, there's hard work. What to speak of not being rich? I don't know what time it is where you're listening this, but there are people work any time of the day. There are people working. People are driving buses in the traffic, driving rickshaws, or going to work, or working as a teacher with students which may not be so interested or so disciplined, or you are in a class. Of course, you're not right now in a class, I think, because you're listening to the Bhagavatam. You're not in a college or in school, but there is so much work around us. Agriculturists, drivers, shoemaker, industrialists, even rich people, they're always busy trying to make deals. So anyway, parishrama. And out of parishrama, pena means Phena, means foam from the mouth, just like when you see the horse is so fatigued that there is foam in the mouth. Ba, ba, I think means bhyartata. Let me see for you. I want to give you the right. In other words, these are the initials of the pa varga. Let me see, bhyartata. I want to check for you because I want to give you apa varga. Sorry. Yeah, so this Srila Prabhupada presents it in Vrindavan, in New Vrindavan, and again next year in Vrindavan. Let's see. So it's a standard teaching. So we'll see here. I told you, parishrama, working hard, then pa means the form will come, then bha means bhyartata. Bhyartata means disappoint. In other words, one works like an ass, both either physically or mentally, or both physically and mentally, but then there is disappointment in spite of working so hard. So bhyartata means disappointment. One is frustrated despite the efforts. One is frustrated. And then bha. Bha means fearfulness. In spite of working so hard and everything, one never is peaceful at heart. There's always some fear that things can get worse. And things can get worse. I mean, every situation can get worse. Every situation can get worse. Every disease can worsen. Any relation can sour. Uh, any money, any amount of money can be lost, and so on and so forth. Any pain can be increased. Somebody may have tooth pain and is already in great pain, but then maybe he cuts his foot. Now it's also hard to walk, and then you can imagine how much pain this body. This body is like a sometimes due to karma, it's like a target of unlimited suffering because every part of the body can give you pain. You can take a needle and pierce, and it's all painful. And of course, many other type of pains, like somebody can take a stick and beat you. So many things can go wrong, also internally. One can break bones, one can have a stomach ache. So anyway, I think you follow what I'm saying. So when we say, okay, all this, and of course, after pop, let me see. So then pa, ma. And ma means mrityu, death. Although one has been struggling for 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 years, one has been struggling, then everything finish. Everything, at least in this body, finishes with mrityu. So these are the 5 pavarga. So when we say apavarga, means liberation from this condition. That means no more hard work, because you have a spiritual body, no more fatigue, no more frustration, because you have Satchitananda Vigraha. Then no more fear, because you are becoming invincible, you become spiritual, you become eternal, even your body is eternal, and then there is no death. So you go beyond this. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada quotes an important verse in the Bhagavatam, Dharmasya hi apavargasya. Dharma, real Dharma. This is Bhagavatam. This is the beginning of the Bhagavatam, 2nd chapter. So Sutta Goswami is really trying to impress. I mean, he's really impressing the foundational element, foundational principles. So Dharmasya, there's so much talk about Dharma in Vedic culture, or in all cultures actually, but especially in Vedic culture. What's dharma is for? Dharmasya hi apavargasya narto yaschiha karma vihi. There should not be any other goal. Just like if somebody's sick, I'm saying big sickness, dangerous sickness, lethal sickness, the only business is to get healthy. There's no other business. So similarly, somebody is in this world, the only business of dharma, the only business of aligning to higher wisdom is to get rid of this mundane life. There's no other business. It's like if you are in a burning house, there's no other business than getting out. So the house is burning. You see, sometimes the house is full of fires, it's about to collapse because the beams are being burned, consumed by the fire. So what do you think? Let me check the news on my computer. So the computer is also getting burned. But what is it? Oh, well, maybe I'm making a sandwich. I'm making myself a sandwich before I run out. No, there's no other business. You just run out. just run out. If you save your life, you're done. No, it's a success. It's a success. If you just ran out in the street with your life intact, it's already a success. So that's the goal of Dharma. Dharmasya yapavargasya narto yaschiha karma bihi. So this concept of liberation, especially Vaishnava liberation, is central to the whole concept of progressive life. So we read this. Srila Prabhupada concludes, in other words, everyone should be eager to return home back to God, taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and thus being fully trained in Krishna consciousness. There's no other thing. There's nothing else to do. I mean, there's nothing else, meaning there's so much to do within the framework. I want to go back home, back to God, and within the framework, I serve the Guru, I serve the Vishnu. You can build big temples, you can build farms, you can write books. But again, the basic mood is liberation. And for a devotee, it's not just a liberation from the material body, because they say, Jamani Jamani Shwari Bhavat Bhakti Haitu Kitai. We pray the prayer of Lord Chaitanya. So it's not really liberation, since I don't want to be in the material world necessarily anymore, but I don't want to be forced by my own desires to be in the material world. I don't want to be forced by forgetfulness of Krishna. 17. Yasmat priya viyoga samyoga janma shukagnina sakalayoni shudhayamana dukhao shudham tadapi dukham atadiyam umam brahmami vadame tavadasya yogam. I like this expression, dasya yogam. Activities of service. Translation, dasya yogam. Translation, O Great One, O Supreme Lord, because of combination with pleasing and displeasing circumstances, and because of separation from them, one is placed in a most regrettable position within heavenly or hellish planets. So even heavenly planets is regrettable. See the vision of the Paramahamsa, pure devotee, as if burning in a fire of lamentation. There's another verse in the Bhagavatam where it says, like envy, which is like burning, is not it's not solved even in Svargaloka. Svargaloka, everybody is obviously much higher, does have much higher level of sense gratification and pleasure than this world, this planet, but still, the envy is still there. Or you may see Indra say, oh, look at Indra, I said, this is the king, I'm not the king. So even there, which is a point of, could say, destination for many people, materialistic karma kandis, it's a place where still the heart burns. Although there are many remedies by which to get out of miserable life, any such remedies in the material world are more miserable than the miseries themselves. Wow. Therefore, I think that the only remedy is to engage in your service. Kindly instruct me in such service. So, Prahlada Maharaj, you can see in these verses, he basically, with few strokes, if he was a painter, a few well-placed strokes, he pictured the whole material world and the goal of life. So therefore, please engage my service and instruct me how to engage in the service. Prahlada Maharaj aspired to engage in the service of the Lord, of the lotus feet of the Lord. After the death of his father, who was materially very opulent, Prahlada would have inherited his father's property, which extended throughout the world. But Prahlada Maharaj was not inclined to accept such material opulence, for whether one is in the heavenly or hellish planets, or is a rich or a poor man's sons, material conditions are everywhere. Therefore, no condition of life is at all pleasing. If one wants the uncontaminated pleasure of blissful life, he must engage himself in a transcendental loving service of the Lord. Material opulence may be somewhat pleasing for the time being, but to come to that temporary pleasing condition, one must work extremely hard. When a poor man is rich, he may be better situated. But to come to the position, he has to accept many miseries. The fact is that in material life, whether one is miserable or happy, both conditions are miserable. One actually wants happy, blissful life, one must become Krishna conscious and constantly engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. That is the real remedy. The entire world is under the illusion that people will be happy by advancing in materialistic measures to counteract the miseries of conditioned life. But this attempt will never be successful. Humanity must be trained to engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. That is the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement. There can be no happiness in changing one's material condition, for everywhere there is trouble and misery. So this may sound very pessimistic, but actually is very realistic. One, for instance, say, is working very hard for a high position in, say, politics, president of the country, but then when he becomes president of the country, so many more problems end up on his desk. You have to deal with this, you have to deal with that. Imagine the president of the United States of America, which is traditionally considered the most powerful man in the world from a political point of view. Now, he has to imagine the poor man, how much he has to deal. He has a war in Ukraine, and then now he has a war in Israel and Palestine, and which are already two big issues. He has to make a policy, have the parliament and Congress accept the policy, and so on and so forth. All very, in some cases, insurmountable tasks. And then he has to deal with re-elections, right? If he wants to get the job again next year, he has to undergo so many planning, so many strategy, and dealing with the polls, opinion polls, do they like him or not? And people may like him, but they don't like the vice president, so what to do to change her or not? And then, of course, he has to take care of his body. He's a very old man, and plus with the legal issues of the son, and so many problems. So, in fact, if he was a simply retired man sitting on the porch somewhere, wherever, I don't know where is he from, but say in a porch in Pennsylvania or Alabama or North Dakota, it would be much more peaceful than being the president of the United States. So, Srila Prabhupada says, there cannot be happiness in changing one's material condition, for everywhere there is trouble and misery. So we need to invite this picture, because, see, anything else in this world, like all the publicity, not only gross publicity, buy this or buy this product, or buy this cosmetic or buy this food, not only the gross one, but also the promises buy this seminar, we'll teach you this, we'll teach you that, as if, okay, this will solve all your problems. Actually, it won't solve the problems at the root, because your problem is forgetfulness of Krishna. So only these books, or this pravachan based on these books, means speeches based on these books and the example, those are really the panacea for this pain. Anything else is just a false advertisement, if it's presented as the final solution. So we welcome Mataji Kushbu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you.
So my wife had to take a break. She's not around for the next some time. We may end up early today, maybe at 11 India time, so maybe in 22 minutes we'll end.
Okay.
I don't think she will be back by then. Let's see. And of course, as usual, if anybody has any question or comment, just speak up. No problem. Okay, so we continue the prayers of Prahlada Maharaj. Here in this particular prayer, he talks about remedy. Dukkha oshadham. Oshada means medicine. It's quite, I think the traditional way called pharmacies, Oshadalaya, no? The place of Oshadam, medicine. So Dukkha Oshadam, the remedy for pain. And then, so Dasya Yogam, activities of devotional service. Next. Soham Priyasya Surida Paradevataya Lila Katastavanashinga Virincha Gita Anjastitarmyanugrinan Gunavipra Mukto Durganite Padayugalaya Amsa Sangha. Oh, my Lord Nishingadev, by engaging your transcendental loving service in the association of devotees who are liberated souls, Hamsas, I shall become completely uncontaminated by the association of the three bonds of material nature, and be able to chant the glories of your Lordship, who are so dear to me. I shall chant your glories, following exactly in the footsteps of Lord Brahma and his disciplic succession. In this way, I shall undoubtedly be able to cross the ocean of nations. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A devotee's life and duty are very well explained herein. As soon as a devotee can chant the holy name and glories of the Supreme Lord, he certainly comes to the liberated position. This is very interesting because there's so much. Sometimes that's my observation. Oh, liberated. But Srila Prabhupada gives a very practical, plausible, impossible, achievable, accessible concept. As soon as a devotee can chant the holy name and glories of the Supreme Lord, he certainly comes to the liberated position. So I want to make a note of this, because I'm just giving an example. A few days ago, I was writing about some people say, oh, women can become Diksha Guru only if they are liberated. But they seem to think that being liberated for a devotee is like a very, very, very high position. But Srila Prabhupada here is say, as soon as a devotee can chant the holy name and glories of the Supreme Lord, meaning, of course, should be some caliber, not the one chanted very bad rounds. No. In the third canto, Srila Prabhupada says that the Kanishta Adhikari gets imperceptibly liberated. So Kanishta Adhikari, the lowest levels of devotees in the three levels, Kanishta, Madhyama, and Uttama. So even that, the Kanishta Adhikari was a good devotee. Maybe a Kanishta, meaning in a sense, maybe doesn't know much philosophy, is not a dedicated preacher, but if he worships the deity, he follows the principles and everything, then he's imperceptibly liberated. You may see him have a person, oh, well, it's just a pujari there, here and there. Oh, maybe he's already liberated soul. Because if he dies, doesn't take birth again. If he's well situated, if he's initiated, if he does his service. So now, within the liberated souls, the liberated devotees, of course, there are many stages. But we should understand that we shouldn't think, oh, liberation. Liberation is very easy for devotees who are serious. Now, they may not desire that, they may not crave or develop an ambition, but devotees are often, that's my understanding, are more often liberated than what people give credit for. So as soon as the devotee can chant the holy name and glories of the Supreme Lord, he certainly comes to liberated position. Attachment for glorifying the Lord by hearing and chanting the holy name and activities of the Lord, Shravanam, Kirtan, Vishnu, certainly brings one to the position where material contamination is absent. Because there is power. Otherwise, we think, no, devotees, how can they become liberated? No, this man, this woman, how can they? But the attachment for glorifying the Lord is so powerful. Shravanam, Kirtan, Vishnu, this is no different than Vishnu. Certainly, one can get purified. Maybe bodily features or even some of the psychological features may not be immediately, they may not change, but the person is liberated if he has this attachment for the Lord. And by attachment of the Lord, it's practical. Is he or she attached to glorify the Lord, to hearing and chanting? One should chant the bona fide songs received from the disciple succession. Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the chanting is powerful when one follows the disciple succession. Evam parampara pratamima rajashayo viduhu. Manufacturing many ways of chanting will never be effective. However, chanting the song or the narration left by previous acharyas, Mahajano, Yinagata, Sapantaha, is extremely effective. And this process is very easy. Therefore, in this verse, Prahlada Maharaj uses the word anjaha, easily, accepting the thoughts of exalted authority through disciple succession is certainly much easier than the method of mental speculation. Yeah, I mean, one analogy comes to mind. It's not a full analogy, but it's like it's much easier to inherit money. If you're born the family of a super rich person, you have money without lifting a finger. Instead of, you have to start from zero, you have to make money, you have to build a financial empire. No. So if you get the conclusions from the acharyas, you have that knowledge. You may not have worked for that so much, you just heard. And on the other hand, the analogy is not perfect because you cannot work your way through spiritual realization. I mean, you can do austerity and everything, but not through Srila Prabhupada used the word mental speculation. You can't even reach there, even if you try. By which one tries to invent some means to understand the absolute truth. The best process is to accept the instructions of the previous acharyas and follow them. Then God realization and self-realization become extremely easy. You see Srila Prabhupada, how he kind of not de-glamorize, but demystify the fact. It's easy. You're a soul, you follow the realized soul, you become a realized soul. by following this easy method, again, this word easy, one is liberated from the contamination of the material modes of nature, and thus one can certainly cross the ocean of nations, in which there are many miserable conditions. By following the footsteps of the great acharyas, one associates with the hamsas, or paramahamsas, those who are completely freed from material contamination. Indeed, by following the instructions of the acharyas, one is always freed from all material contaminations, and thus one's life becomes successful. One reaches the goal of life. This material world is miserable regarding one's standard of life. Of this, there is no doubt. So, this we need to imbibe deeply. Material world is miserable regardless of one's standard of life. One may think, well, I'm miserable because I don't have this, I don't have that. But if I had, imagine a number of sports cars, Lamborghini, Ferrari, McLaren, Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce is not a sport car, but it's a very luxury car. Or if I could have a personal jet, private jet, or if I could have this or that or the other thing, I could have this job. No, still you'd be miserable. The person sitting in traffic in a Lamborghini maybe is more frustrated than the person who sits in a normal car. But even if there was no traffic, okay, you're still miserable, still okay, try to get a little bit speed, but that doesn't fulfill your heart. Your doesn't fill your heart's desires to be free, to be happy forever, to be free from death. In fact, people die because of the sport cars. They get into speed and then they can't control the vehicle anymore. Anyway, there are many examples. You may have a private jet, like relatively many people have, big industrialists or Arab sheikhs and so on. But then they're sitting there. Yes, of course, it's much more comfortable than flying commercial or just more going by train like that. But maybe that their mind is in a locked of anxiety while they're flying on a private jet. They still have the limitation of the material body. They still have to go to the bathroom. They still have to eat, and who knows how many desires they have that disturbs their dreams, disturbs even their sleep. Some people are super rich, but they can't even sleep. That the rickshawala can sleep very peacefully at night, can just, close their eyes and sleep. And maybe a billionaire can't sleep because he's thinking, the fluctuations of the markets, well, is that investment going and this and that, or he has family problems and so on. So we need to imbibe this faith. Otherwise, we think, I'm doing spiritual life because, I'm kind of a small guy, but if I had this, if I had much more, maybe spiritual life wasn't so necessary. No, spiritual life is our real natural life. Everything else is miserable. Even though we may not realize it. It's like Srila Prabhupada gives the example, the hog. He eats stool, the excrements, that's his food. And while he eats stool, he feels, wow, this is very warm and very nourishes. I really like it. But for a normal person, say, wow, this is so horrible. This is disgusting. But the pig thinks, no, this is you got a lot of food today. But for a normal person, that's not food. Of this, there is no doubt that material world is miserable, regardless of one's standard of life. Attempts to mitigate the miseries of material existence by material methods will never be successful. Because every effort then ends up in death. So, you have to start again. Trying. One must take to Krishna consciousness to become really happy. Otherwise, happiness is impossible. One may say that becoming advanced in spiritual life also involves tapasya, voluntary acceptance of some inconvenience. However, such inconvenience is not as dangerous as material attempts to mitigate all miseries. In other words, if you, yes, maybe following the principle of austerity, okay, little fasting, while fasting a few days a year, or maybe full fasting on Janmashtami, or these are not big deals in one sense, unless somebody has really some sickness, because in fact they are also full of realizations, and people, 3 p.m. in Janmashtami may not be hungry, but maybe feeling weak. So he feels, look, my body, unless I get food, I'm so dependent on just some few proteins, vitamins, carbohydrates. Otherwise, I'm just nothing. I'm just so weak, so hard to do anything. So they give some immediate realizations. And this inconvenience is not as dangerous as material attempts to mitigate all miseries. Srila Prabhupada uses this word dangerous. People try to get out of misery by drugs, which they may kill them. So many people die of overdose, but even if they don't die, they get addicted, they get enslaved. One can drink and then has to drink more and more and more, and he may get ulcer, may die in a very miserable way. In any case, it's addicted. He has to do. It's not that, oh, I can do it or I cannot do it. No, you have to do it. Otherwise, your brain goes mad, and so on and so forth. Could be anything. But so the passive devotee is not as dangerous, and sometimes they're not as great as the people, the austerities, the penances, or the efforts that the materialistic people do. You go Bombay, 6 o'clock in the morning. The airport is packed, and these people might have traveled 1 hour, 2 hours to get to that airport, or even half an hour, but still they must have got up very, very early, for at least for their standard. So, but they have to work, they have to do business, they have to move, they have to go here and there. So they have their what's for them is a very ungodly time, meaning very hard for them to manage at that time. But still, they had to do it, and they had to do it. Once I remember I was in Singapore. I was Singapore is a little island. The whole country is a little island with a city, 6 million people. So to go anywhere, basically you have to fly. So I was in the bus to the airport. It was very early in the morning, which for me was kind of normal. I think it was still dark, but no, they wanted to get up early. So, and there was somebody sitting next to me, and he was a businessman, or at least an agent of some company. So he was so frustrated because his life was so miserable. Every day he has to catch a flight, Singapore, fly in all Southeast Asia, say Thailand or Malaysia, or say Indonesia, all around, different cities in Indonesia, different cities. And he was just expressing how his life was miserable. To do some, he was an agent of some company, so he had to go and meet people in different places. So basically, every day he has to fly and come back at night. Imagine catch the fly, get down, immigration, all that, to check the passport, go to get the taxi, get to the place, speak with the person, try to convince this, that, then get back to the taxi, eating here and there. Sometimes maybe not eating because there is no time. You get to catch the flight back. So completely conditioned by, okay, if time is 7 p.m., it's 7 p.m. Maybe it was better for you to have it at 6, or maybe it was better to have it 8:30. But no, the flight is 6. To come back, you got to take it. So I remember his face. It was a Chinese person. Singapore, most people are from Chinese ethnic background. And I still remember, I mean, it's more than 25 years ago. I still remember his face. And from somebody say, oh, he flies every day. No, but for him it was such a pain. such a pain, this type of life. Can you imagine spending 10 years, 20 years, 30 years doing that? They didn't like at all. I still remember his face, his expression. Like, kind of, I'm paraphrasing, but I can't take it anymore. So one may say, oh, you fly every day. Oh, yeah, but it was like a torture. Next, let's hear from Prahlada Maharaj. Maybe I'm talking too much. Balasyani sharanam pitaro nrshinga nartasya chagadam udamvati. Sorry. Nartasya chagadam udamvati majjano nao taptasya tat prativibhir ya anja seshtas tavad vibho tanubritam tvad upekshitanam. My Lord Nishigadev, O Supreme, because of a bodily conception of life and body souls neglected and not cared for by you, cannot do anything for their betterment. Whatever remedies they accept, although perhaps temporarily beneficial, are certainly impermanent. For example, a father and mother cannot protect their child, a physician and medicine cannot relieve the suffering patients, and a boat on the ocean cannot protect a drowning man. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Through parental care, through remedies for different kinds of disease, and through means of protection on the water, in the air, or on the land, there is always an endeavor for relief from various kinds of suffering in the material world, but none of them are guaranteed measures for protection. They may be beneficial temporarily, but they afford no permanent benefit. Despite the presence of a father and mother, a child cannot be protected from accidental death, disease, and various other miseries. No one can help, including the parents. I mean, we can see here, a picture comes in mind of Gaza. Every day we see pictures of this Gaza Strip, the different cities being bombed, and especially those who want to bring attention to the suffering of the Palestinians, they show this picture of parents with the dying or dead child in their arms. You see the child bleeding because of the bombing. And the father and mother certainly want to protect the child, but they cannot. They cannot. Whatever they cannot, because a bomb comes from the sky. How are you going to protect your child? Max, you can cover the child with your body, but maybe crashed by cement falling down. So even with the most loving parents, sometimes a child suffers or dies. There is nothing that parents can do. The other side, when this Hamas attacked, they also killed children in what they see as the enemy camp in Israel. They went there and killed children, and their parents could not protect them. Now, one may say, well, these are extreme cases. No, so many children fall sick or have problems or break arms, break legs, even by playing in a safe environment. So many children are kidnapped. So many children are sold into slavery. And sometimes children die, maybe not, of course, as 80-year-old people, but many children may die of accident. I know a devotee, a good brother, he was just coming back from Kolkata to Mayapur, and they stopped for something on the way, just a few minutes, like, when you travel, you stop for bathroom or something, and he stopped on the side of the road, and the child, 2-3-year-old child, 5 years, no, 3-4 years old child, he just walked in the middle of the street. It's a highway, it's a national highway. and it just got hit by a truck and he died. Like that. And they were simply coming back from Calcutta to Mayapur. And they did not even have an accident. It just, no, a small child doesn't have awareness of what's the situation. He's just curious. He walks, and then for a moment, the parents don't see him. He just walks in the middle of the highway, and he got hit by a truck, and he died. Imagine the pain, the guilt, the agony of those parents. Imagine. So, despite the presence of a father and mother, a child cannot be protected from accidental death, disease, and various other miseries. Even if you have the most loving parents, then you have to go to school. You may not like to learn the alphabet. You may not like mathematics. Few people like mathematics, but most people just don't like. But they have to do that. You know, father loves you, mother loves you, but you are there with struggling with these numbers and this and that and square roots. You may not understand, why am I learning square roots? How will I ever use it in life? That was I was thinking when I mean, addition, multiplications, subtractions, divisions are essential in life. Percentages are also essential. What does it mean 20% discount? What does it mean? So those are essential skills, but square roots, I remember. I was wondering, frankly, I completely forgot what's the use of square roots. I am a senior citizen now, but I never use a square root even once in my life. And I don't plan to use it in the rest of my life. Actually, if you ask me, I don't even know what's the use, what's application. Let me check, because I'm very curious. Because pain, millions of children are learning square roots. They don't even know why. Square, what's the use? What's the use of square roots? It has a major use in the formula for root. It has a major use in the formula for roots of a quadratic equation. Quadratic fields and rings of quadratic integer, which are based on square roots, are important in algebra. They have uses in geometry. Square roots frequently appear in mathematical form or elsewhere, as well as in many physical laws. Yes, but I think most people don't use it, although they are forced to learn. So even that's another pain. What percentage of people use square roots? They say, suppose you need to find new apartment, you obviously will have the idea on the size of it. Now, if you see an advertisement saying square foot, use the simple square root 400 square foot, 20 by 20. That's why square roots make your life simple. Okay, but that's a non-usual, a quick multiplication. You don't need, I mean, 400, 20 by 20 is 400. I'm not convinced. I mean, I'm not convinced that it's important for general people unless you work with algebra, with geometry, with this. Hare Krishna. So let's finish this purport, and then we call it a day. I'm sure you all been seeing Shirada Windadasi, but something else to do this morning. Krishna willing, both will be back tomorrow. Okay, No one can help, including the parents. Ultimately, the shelter is the Lord, and one who takes shelter of the Lord is protected. This is guaranteed. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 9:31, Kante pradijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Obviously, it's not that the devotee don't die, don't leave the body, but if one is a devotee, never perishes spiritually. Never get vanquished spiritually, is never lost in the cycle of birth and death. Therefore, unless one is protected by the mercy of the Lord, no remedial measure can act effectively. One should consequently depend fully on the causeless mercy of the Lord. Although as a matter of routine duty, one must of course accept other remedial measures. Obviously, you don't get sick, you have to take some medicine or something. So although as a matter of routine duty, one must of course accept other remedial measure, no one can protect one who is neglected by the Supreme Personality of God. In this material world, everyone is trying to counteract the onslaught of material nature, but everyone is ultimately fully controlled by material nature. Therefore, even though so-called philosophers and scientists try to surmount the onslaught of material nature, they have not been able to do so. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 13:9, the real sufferings of the material world are four: Jamma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, birth, death, old age, and disease. In the history of the world, no one has been successful in conquering these miseries imposed by material nature. No one. Prakrite kriyamanani, gunai karmani sarvasha. Nature, Prakriti is so strong that no one can overcome our stringent laws. So-called scientists, philosophers, religionists, and politicians should therefore conclude that they cannot offer facilities to the people in general. They should make vigorous propaganda to awaken the populace and raise them to the platform of Krishna consciousness. Our humble attempt to propagate the Krishna conscious movement all over the world is the only remedy that can bring about a peaceful and happy life. We can never be happy without the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Tvad upekshitanam. If we keep displeasing our Supreme Father, we shall never be happy within this material world, in either the upper or lower planetary systems. So, unless there is any question from Kushbu Mataji.
No, Prabhuji, no question. Because
Okay.
explained it very nicely, so I understood. So thank you so much.
So with your permission, we'll stop here today.
With your permission, yeah. Okay, Prabhuji. And thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to Harikatha, the prayers of Prahlada Maharaj to Nishingadev, and the explanations, illuminating explanation of the founder Acharya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.